Well, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to 13 News at noon. I am Karen Campbell. We're starting with the weather with meteorologist Sean Ash because he tells us the temperatures will be slightly creeping up.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's noticeable. And
Yeah.
now, again, I know it's kind of weird to say that when
Yeah.
the temperature is about 30 and we still have wind chills in the teens. But if you recall this time yesterday, we had a wind chill that was near zero.
It was brutally cold.
It is technically warmer here, and the warmest is yet to come, but the coldest is yet to come. Please buckle up because we have much to discuss here. We've got to start with today. You know, we had a little bit of sunshine. I quite frankly thought we'd have a little bit more in terms of snowflakes today. System a little quicker, energy a little farther north. With all that said, I think we'll still squeeze out some flurries here as we move forward. 30 in Indy at this hour. 35 in Bedford, and even 27 in Kokomo. Yeah, the wind chills are in the teens to the middle 20s, but compared to this time yesterday, we are much, much warmer, both in terms of wind chill and temperatures. So you can see the cloud cover that's coming down the pike here from the northwest, and eventually there's going to be a little bit of a wind shift, and I think enough that especially downwind of the lake here, we'll probably have some scattered lake effect snow showers and a little bit of flurry action. I do want to talk about for what's ahead as we move forward here. So the trade-off with this warm-up, we're going to have that warmer air over the snowpack, and this is very common, and it's starting to be picked up now by the modeling. We could have some areas of dense fog to start out tomorrow morning, and enough so that we may have some 2-hour delays. That's one impact. We've got to talk about a weekend weather maker and a big temperature tumble going into next week. We'll see with the 7-day outlook.
All right. Thank you, Sean.
Yeah.
This afternoon, 13 News is following IMPD's investigation on the city's east side after a man was found dead in an apartment. We learned that man's name just hours ago. Police tell us they were called to 38th Street just before midnight for a report of a burglary. That's near the state fairgrounds. When they got to the apartment, they found no forced entry, but they did find 38-year-old Jeremy Patton dead with signs of trauma.
We do have a security guard here that they are working on interviewing. That we do know one of the things that she told us initially when the officers got here is that she's been here since 8 o'clock tonight.
Right now, IMPD is searching for any leads on potential suspects. Anyone with information that could help is asked to call Crime Stoppers. That number is 317-262-TIPS. Well, now to an update in that attempted robbery we told you about yesterday at noon. We are learning one suspect has died after being shot in an attempted carjacking. Now, this happened early yesterday morning near 86th Street and Zionsville Road. Investigators now believe 2 suspects were trying to rob one person who got away. The suspects tried to rob a second person who ended up shooting one of them in a parking lot at Trader Joe's shopping center. That suspect was 23-year-old Trevor Marrero. He later died from their injuries. Well, now Metro Police are looking for the other suspect as well as any witnesses. Well, right now, investigators are working to find out what led to a deadly fire on the city's south side. This happened around 9:30 Wednesday night on Hopkins Street near East Raymond and Shelby. Firefighters tell us heavy smoke and flames were coming from the home. Witnesses at the scene alerted crews that someone was inside. A woman in her 70s. She died. 13 News is reaching out to see if there were any others inside or if anyone else was hurt. We will pass along any new information once it comes into our newsroom. This week, we have felt temperatures plummet, making it feel downright brutal outside. IEMS says cold-related emergencies have skyrocketed. Our Chase Howell talked to the group about why they're seeing more calls this year compared to 2024.
According to IEMS, it's because the unhoused population has grown so large here in Indianapolis. But the advice medics are giving is for anyone who has to brave these bitter cold temperatures. People walking down Mass Avenue were bundled up, and so were some of their dogs, as temperatures hovered in the teens.
If you're younger or if you're older and you don't need to be outside, don't go.
Tom Arkins works for IEMS. He says this time last year, they received 71 calls for cold-related emergencies. As for this year, there's already been 134 calls.
We see anywhere from like less than 2 a day. that's normal. And then we look at our metrics. 7 is where we say, all right, that's really, really high. Yesterday we were at 15. Today we're already at 6. And as we move into the weekend, I suspect that number is going to go higher.
Arkin says a lot of the emergencies medics are responding to have to do with hypothermia and frostbite. For those who don't know how either of those feel or look like, Arkin says to look for these key signs.
If you're out in the cold and you notice that your hands are starting to tingle, that means your body's cold and saying, all right, that's your kind of your first warning. And then keep an eye on it. And if your fingers start to turn red, that means your body is starting to say, all right, I'm taking the blood away from there, because the next steps after that, it's going to start to turn white because there's no more blood going down there, or it can even turn black. That's when we start to notice that it's dying.
To avoid any cold-related injuries, Arkin says to make sure all your extremities are covered and that you bundle up. But if you feel that you may be at the beginning stages of hypothermia or frostbite, Arkin says to find a warm place to go and slowly heat up the area affected.
That was our Chase Howell reporting there. Another former IU basketball player is alleging misconduct by a former team doctor. Last year, a federal class action lawsuit was filed against Dr. Brad Bomba Sr. Now, the current men's basketball head trainer, Tim Garl, is named as a second defendant. The lawsuit claims Garl was involved in Bomba's wrongful conduct.
There's already an 18-year pattern that we're working with here. We believe that as many as 100 or more players were victimized.
Players allege Bomba Sr. gave them inappropriate exams during physicals. An IU spokesperson told us the university won't comment on litigation. So far, neither man is charged in this case. A court hearing is scheduled for Monday, March 3rd. This afternoon, Governor Mike Brauns is issuing his first set of executive orders since he was sworn into office. One of those orders eliminates the practice of diversity, equity, and inclusion policies in state government. Diversity, equity, and inclusion policies promote fairness for people of all backgrounds. Brauns' order says executive branch state agencies should not use state funds or resources to support DEI programs if they grant preferential treatment based on a person's race or ethnicity. Brauns is also eliminating the Chief Equity, Inclusion, and Opportunity Office created by former Governor Eric Holcomb. Governor Brauns says he wants to replace DEI with MEI. That stands for Merit, Excellence, and Innovation.
In my campaign, I've had such a breadth of support from the entire spectrum of Hoosiers that embrace that idea of freedom and opportunity.
Governor Brauns says he will also be directing state agencies to examine their policies to make sure they align with a 2023 Supreme Court ruling that decided race-conscious college admission policies were unconstitutional. The Indiana Black Legislative Caucus sent 13 News a statement about eliminating DEI. Chair Earl Harris says Governor Brauns is attacking measures in place that make sure state agencies reflect our communities. He goes on to say, quote, "Let's be clear. DEI practices are not about giving any group of people a handout. It's about helping people who have been historically overlooked a hand up." The marijuana debate is back on the table at the State House. Several lawmakers have sponsored bills to legalize it for various reasons. Now, those measures include outright legalization and regulation for anyone over the age of 21. There's also another bill to legalize cannabis for medical purposes. The push to legalization has been an ongoing one at the State House. In fact, every state that borders Indiana has legalized cannabis except Kentucky.
By capturing the existing market in its entirety out of the gate, we ensure that law enforcement and Hoosiers, not criminals, benefit from this reform.
Newly elected Governor Mike Brauns weighed in on the debate. He says there needs to be further discussion on recreational and medical marijuana. The Indiana Fever are getting a new practice home. Check this out. The Indiana Fever Sports Performance Center will break ground this summer at the site of the former Marion County Jail for a practice and training facility, and it's worth almost $80 million. That's near the intersection of East Maryland and Delaware Streets, just across the street from Gainbridge Fieldhouse. The 3-story facility will be more than 100,000 square feet. It is expected to open before the 2027 WNBA season.